I read this morning on Facebook, somebody made the remark, I am absolutely grieved by the fact that President Biden won the US state elections. And I do not want to talk politics today, but I do want to address the statement, I am grieved. Very powerful words that we use for an everyday situation. Now, some people might say it's not an everyday situation, but all countries go through elections. All countries go through, I mean, it's not like the United States is the only country that has ever gone through elections like this in this fashion. But I do want to address that statement. First of all, like I said, grief is an extremely powerful word to use. Now, grief is often associated with a loss of an individual or somebody that you've really been close to or connected with. Now, grief comes in 7 stages. So first of all, there's shock and denial, right? There's pain and guilt. Then you start to become angry and there's some bargaining, emotional bargaining inside your own head. Some people might fall into depression, and then people might start to understand the truth. Then they work through reconstruction, reconciliation with whatever it might be, and then there's acceptance and hope. Pretty long process. If you, for those of you who've really gone through grief, you know it takes weeks, months, sometimes years to work through that process. So here's the first issue I have with that statement. That individual has just declared that there is this process going on in her life that's going to take weeks, months, maybe years to get over, right? The second issue that I have with that statement is any statement that you use where you use I am this, I am that, is an identity statement. You have just declared that you are that person that you have mentioned. You are a person that is in grief. If you say I am stupid, you have declared that that is your identity. I am is an identity statement. The other issue I have, probably the biggest issue I have with that statement is you have a bunch of nerve cells in your brain, in your brain stem. We call it the reticular activation system, or your RAS. The purpose of your RAS is it acts like a filter. It's impossible for your brain to take in all of the information that comes through your senses every single day. Just impossible. It's millions and billions of bits of information. Your brain will explode if it had to let in all of the information and your brain had to process it. So your RAS is responsible for filtering that information. And it will only filter through the information that's important to you. And what is important to you, you decide. It's all of the information that you focus on. That's how your RAS know what info to let in and what information to block out or to filter out. So when you believe something, or when you speak something, or when you focus on something, your reticular activation system is going to sift through all the data that's out there, and it's only going to give you the information that's applicable to whatever it is that you're focusing on. So if you are focusing on grief, it's going to look for all of the information, and it's only going to give you the information that's going to concur with the fact that you should be grieving now, or you are in this grieving process. So when you believe something, your RAS will damn well make sure that it gives you all of the information you need to focus on that particular thing. That is why when people wake up in the morning and they overslept, maybe their alarm didn't go off, then they spill their coffee on them, then their car doesn't want to start, their electric gate doesn't want to open, they can't get out of the house, everything just goes wrong for the day because they start off sort of with the wrong foot, or they because they overslept. I mean, we've all been there, right? Once you, I've said it many times, once you oversleep, it's like your whole day is in ruins. Why? Because you are focusing on everything that can go wrong. You are focusing on all of that, and that's why that is the only thing that you see for that day. So you need to be very careful with the words that you use. You are not, for this particular person, you are not grieving. You might be disappointed. You might be, whatever, it might not be your year, and maybe in 4 years' time it will be your year. But you cannot use the words like, I am absolutely grieved by the fact, because you have no idea what grief really means and what grief can really bring to your life. Please watch the words that you're using. It has an impact on your life.